There we go, Yankum. God damn you. Hello, everybody. So, Yankum is our wonderful technical producer who's been streaming silence for the past 20 minutes.
We've been talking about college basketball, so you don't worry too much about it. Unless you're a fan, then you missed a rousing discussion.
Yes, there was a very good discussion about how Dog is going to tank this year's brackets.
And me just...
Completely unintentionally.
And me just kind of bullshitting knowledge that I don't have about basketball. Because I haven't watched in years.
I know the ball goes in the hoop like the ball goes in your mother's mouth.
Oh man.
Man,
y'all had it. Since we had this muted, you all missed us giving general life advice to Yankum's girlfriend's son.
Shots fired.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch this Arizona game.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hello, Fearless. Hey there, NJ and Dog. As soon as I typed that, my net went down for like 15 minutes.
Classic, dude.
Yeah, I've been struggling trying to get my mom's crappy internet to stay stable enough to do this because I get no cell signal pretty much here. Or just enough to get calls, but not really data.
We got ourselves a wonderful show tonight.
Yes, we do.
Lots of fun controversies throughout the world of wrestling this week.
Oh my god, there's been so many controversies.
That's how you can tell we're on the road to WrestleMania. The shit starts getting real crazy everywhere.
It's like the commuter bridge has crashed on the road to WrestleMania.
Ooh. Too soon.
Too soon, dude.
That's
Way
too soon even
for that.
All right, that's why I didn't say it on the actual show.
It's a pre-show, so it's understandable. You could have said it
Nobody's
while we were muted. We were muted for like a good 20 minutes there because Yankum is too concerned with his girlfriend's son. I don't even know.
Hashtag MAGA.
Yeah. I mean, what's his name said in Blazing Saddles, the governor's affairs of state must take precedence over the affairs of state.
I'm sure that's what it was.
All battle royals are created equal, but some are more equal than others.
Ooh.
Damn.
Oh man.
Damn.
Did you put the news in the format there, bud? Or are you still filling stuff out?
Oh, did I not? Oh, hang on.
Yep.
Don't we in theory have to start the show too?
We're gonna start the show here in a minute.
Nah, we're just gonna pimp out the locker room first.
That's what they call going old school, baby.
I think that's what they call going moolah, baby.
That was the joke.
That's the joke. Just like your education, that's the joke.
He has an education?
He's from Montana.
Ah, that explains it.
I think it's really funny when somebody from Kentucky can find someone who is more mountainous and more redneck to laugh at. It's really
I'm from California, so what can you say about my education?
Well, you guys are perpetually high. That kind of happens, and then the earthquakes. So everybody falls through the cracks.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It turns out that I was so high that I scored higher than most of the state on almost all the freaking state testing. So,
which is why you're here with us, because we can't deal with people, and social anxiety is a terrible bitch.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
It's why I take medication. And drink. And smoke. And god damn it.
Yeah. Take it easy.
You say all those things like it's a bad thing. That's half the fun of life, man.
Boo, Houston, boo.
Better than any of the drugs they've ever given you.
Both of my picks for whatchamacallit, bracket busters were bust. So
Yep.
damn it.
Welcome to the club. Hey, if your bracket ain't busted by now, that means you probably didn't fill one out.
So me?
Yes.
Yes, you.
I'm kind of not regretting making a joke bracket now.
You can't bust a bracket that doesn't bracket. That makes sense.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna play the theme and we're gonna get started. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is that March Madness time of year. Welcome to episode 294 of the Smark Snark podcast. My name is Gunner. Thank you, podcastthemes.com, for the theme song. And over there is Omega VR.
Yes, March Madness is in full swing. But if a 16 beats a 1, you get a free Little Caesars lunch combo.
Speaking of someone who needs
That's what drives me.
Speaking of someone who needs a Little Caesars lunch combo, our wonderful technical producer, Jacob GDS, is missing in action this week. So we have Vassar.
Hello.
We also have Shao Kahn.
Yes, he is missing because he is driving this podcast with a BAC of 0.25.
And fresh off his bro night with Barack Says, it's Net Jester.
I have no idea what you were going with there, but live and direct from the beautiful Dairy Queen of downtown Helena, Montana. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah,
Snippy come back.
Pick me up an Oreo Blizzard.
They have a mint Oreo Blizzard this week.
Give me an M&M one, and save us, dog.
M&M Blizzard. Why do you want hard candy and ice cream? That shit does not work out. No wonder your brackets.
No. Ice cream and M&Ms are very good together. At least I believe.
My bracket's okay, looking okay so far. I went heavy with the picks on the depressing tweets in the Chuck Taylor best tweets bracket out of the Is It Ricochet division. I think Is It Ricochet, though, is bound for that championship. There's nothing better than that.
I can almost agree with that statement. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the news. Big news this week. WWE announced their first ever Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal for WrestleMania, drawing backlash due to Moolah's past history of exploiting her students. Mars Wrigley, the parent company of WWE-sponsored Snickers, called the decision unacceptable, leading to WWE changing the name today to simply WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. Stephanie McMahon tweeted thanking the WWE Universe for using their voice, and what remains important is that it'll be a historic match.
You have no right using the word history after you completely ignored history.
No, it's not history. It's her story.
It's her story.
I love how they're trying to we're going to move forward with the women's division with this historic battle royal, but they're ignoring the history of naming this battle royal that's supposed to move forward the women's division, but they're going to name it after someone who pretty much single-handedly killed American women's wrestling for many years.
I love it how Carmella got Carmella's promos about this particular match are going to age quite well.
Man, she probably helped contribute to killing a lot of women's wrestlers back in the day.
Absolutely. There's a short list of stuff that we could go through here. Let me pull it up.
There's much longer than
careers than actual fatalities.
The one person I gotta give a shout out to is Liv Morgan on Twitter, who everyone else just went with the company line, obviously, which is praising the decision and Moolah, which I'm sure a lot of people did through gritted teeth. But Liv Morgan on Twitter basically called it out as being bullshit and then deleted her tweet and said, you know, some people just basically ignorance is bliss. Not Alexa Bliss, by the way.
Right.
Because if ignorance was Alexa Bliss, I would just be smashing my head against the wall right now.
You know, this is kind of one of those things where it's understandable and, you know, in a general sense, it's a good thing. Because, you know, let's look at Warrior being honored for, like, cancer and things like that. And,
having a humanitarian award named after him, yeah.
Right. Because, you know, he did some very terrible things. Even Jimmy Snuka, arguably.
Let me just shoot this in here real quick. As far as Warrior, he had a big mouth and he gave some opinions, but he never went out of his way to hurt anybody, not that we know of, while Moolah was the exact opposite. So,
well, I mean, when Bobby Heenan got cancer, he made fun of it. He was basically like, good. He chided him for it.
I mean, he hasn't done it quite as much as the public eye, but he's gone out of his way to say some pretty fucking hateful thing as well. It's just another person who, well, part of this is the fact that they got away with naming it the Warrior Award, and they kind of get away with celebrating a lot of people.
They always get away with it because mainstream doesn't really cover them very much.
And this is the first time that people either cared enough or created enough of a fuss, basically to the sponsor of WrestleMania, saying this is bullshit, we don't want this. And it actually got changed. Like, they don't change stuff. Like, they stick to their guns, but they double, triple down on this bullshit.
Thing is, most of the fans that actually know their history know what she did, so they complained.
Well, I mean, that's the key thing. WWE is not, and like you said, has not ever changed their mind on things like this because that's how they operate. But once the sponsor says something, then it's changed. I knew as soon as I saw that today that Mars had sent out that statement. I knew it was getting changed by the end of the day. And lo and behold, it did.
As I was coming out of my doctor's appointment today, I looked at my phone and saw that, you know, all it said was they changed the name of it because of the sponsor, and I didn't go into the article, but I almost started laughing my ass off.
I mean, hey, they fired Daniel Bryan because a sponsor, Mattel, thought they didn't even say fire him. They just said, well, that was too graphic. We don't want that.
Yeah. I was about to say that next.
I hate. I don't want to endorse this type of thing because I think people take it too far and it gets out of hand. This was one of the situations where it was handled okay. I usually dislike it, but if it's the only way they're ever going to listen, then people are just going to keep doing this more and more.
To your point, Dog, I mean, I'm thinking, in my head, this is good, this is okay, this is, understandable. But, is it going to get to the point where Steve Austin can't make an appearance because, hey, the guy beat his wife at one point? Or, there's a laundry list of practically every legend. And
I'm sure that every single person that has been a popular WWE superstar has some sort of skeleton in their closet that they aren't a shiny example of what a human being should be.
Well, but the thing about the modern day fan is they basically every wrestler has done stupid shit or worse or bad stuff or just as bad, but it's like the most recent thing is the one that gets harped on and everyone else's bullshit gets ignored.
Right.
There's a point where I've written this several times on Twitter, and I just got to say it here too. This is a carny business. It was a business born from the carnival, founded by carnies, ran by carnies, practiced by carnies. It's never going to not be a carny business. You have to be able to accept some of that to be a fan of it. And if you don't, you need to go find something else to do because it's not going to change. It hasn't changed for a century. And it's still just as ridiculous as it was in 1918, I'm sure.
I also think that there's a bit of a information age thing going on here too. So you know how when everybody thinks that, you look on the internet and you look around the world and you get everybody on the internet and there's all this bad shit in the world. I think this is a symptom of the wrestling business too, because if you look, you got everybody on Twitter, you got everybody on Facebook, all this social media shit, and then every single bad thing that ever happens between now and forever will be immortalized in the goddamn internet with a picture or a video to TMZ or some other thing that went on that you just can't get away from it with anymore. And really what it's exposing us to is how people actually live and the honesty that is, somebody's life. Sure, somebody might have an incident where, where something happens, like, for example, Jimmy Uso's DWI, right? He made a series of bad decisions that night and is paying the penalty for it currently. You can't hold, if he does the time, then us as a community isn't going to go look back on him and say, oh God, what a fucking awful guy because he's got a DWI. He made a bad decision and he's paying for it. I want to point this out in reference to Moolah here because I'm going to give you guys a short rundown of what Moolah actually did. So Moolah never wanted to be poor again, and I'm quoting a big post from Reddit, by the way. This is a fucking awesome post if you guys haven't seen this. Moolah never wanted to be poor again, and out of that fear, she pimped off her students to make money, trained women to be shit to ensure that she'd never be surpassed, destroyed careers in an entire tag team division to maintain her position, abused and drugged her trainees to maintain control of them, and drugged sweet Georgia Brown to control her and allowed her to be raped by promoters on the road. This woman was a conniving,
And that's what we know about.
manipulative person who wanted to make sure that she never, ever, ever had to work again because she got to the top and did anything possible to stay there that were completely immoral. And she's an awful person for doing that. And while she's a trailblazer and WWE might want to tout some of her positive stuff, it's awful to see someone like her at the top of the business ruining the business for women and for everything else, because really what that reduced everything to and what it turned into is it paused women's wrestling to the 50s, and now we're finally playing catch up to all of that. And and I would like to point that Moolah's ability to be able to sit here and guide the business in that particular direction, because she's the strongest woman in the goddamn country, essentially, for all of this, for women's wrestling, led to fluff things like anything that was in like the WCW girls or pretty valets that you saw in the 80s and 90s, or Glow even. They tried to break the moniker with Glow, but they had to do it from a standpoint of these women are pretty and these women are women, and not necessarily these, breaking of a stereotype kind of thing. And you see that, and it disgusts me, honestly, the fact that she is a woman and held women down that much. And the more I read this post and the more that I read up on this particular thing, the more angry I got that the WWE is just touting her as one of the best, women of history.
Sorry, I gotta jump in. It's not just the WWE. I find it highly ironic that Stephanie was one of the cheerleaders for Moolah, because she is, whether we want to admit it or not, one of the people who set the women's revolution to start with. The end of Braun Panties matches, the end of a lot of the exploitative stuff that the WWE did in the past, and for Stephanie to be one of the people who named the Battle Royal the Moolah Battle Royal, and then suddenly decided after the social backlash and Snickers saying, "No way, Jose," this is just incredible to me in more ways than one.
Well, this is not anything new with Stephanie. The whole reason the women's revolution started because Stephanie was talking about all women are empowering, but then AJ Lee on Twitter called her out on her shit about how women in WWE don't get shit and they don't get any opportunity at all. And then all of a sudden, hey, women's revolution, I started this. Like, no, you decided, hey, we're not getting shit, and you're not really, this company doesn't really give two shits about us.
Maybe it speaks less to the carny nature of the business, because thinking about it, how many NFL players are on the field that have done terrible things, and
Exactly.
NBA and exactly
Any sport you can point to and say MMA, I'm sure, has just as many scoundrels and criminals, and I mean,
right.
one of the biggest fighter in MMA theoretically, or was at the point, was doing fucking cocaine and street racing in Vegas. Like, everybody knows. It's how much you want to be able to separate art from artist. And it used to be a lot easier to do that, but now in this internet age, they're one and the same in a lot of ways. And
well,
you
to
just
that
can't
end,
do it.
To that end, on the wrestling side anyway, maybe it speaks less to the general carny nature and more toward the McMahon's history. Because the thing of it is, Moolah was one of the people that Vince Sr. told his son to always take care of. They kind of crafted this narrative that May and Moolah were like the trailblazers, shoving out, all the rest. Moolah was loyal to WWF for a long time. And, it kind of makes sense to name it after her just from the fact that she started that long women's title reign off of Battle Royal. So, in that sense, I kind of understood. But anyway, the long and short of it, no matter how many points the McMahons want to kind of revise in their own mind, we are definitely in an age where, if they're coming after you, you better be ready, because, again, this people who never saw Moolah wrestle a match are outraged about this kind of thing. And, again, we're talking about sponsors here. We're in an age where, Vince doesn't have complete control, and, Snickers is their biggest sponsor as far as WrestleMania goes. So
Snickers is one of the biggest sponsors, period.
You should remember this all when you were very pissed at WWE for doing something that is incorrect. Because the biggest, I mean, okay, so I want to point this out, and this is exactly what happened with YouTube and the Wall Street Journal.
Oh my God, the apocalypse.
Well, the difference is that this is one specific. That's what I was saying before. I don't want to encourage this behavior because people take it too fucking far. This is one specific thing, and there's been a lot of bullshit that WWE fans have put up with. But this was just like a breaking point. And as long as it doesn't continue and this one thing happens and this one thing that should have been changed is fine, it'll all be good. But if they keep pushing it too far, it creates a thing where people don't want to say or do anything, even slightly controversial. And how boring of a wrestling show would that be?
Oh God, yes.
Could you imagine the Suffer and Succotash promos that they would be cutting? All of them. All of them.
It'd be 2007 to 2010 all over again.
Everybody is poopy.
Yeah, it's an awful beast that feeds on and of itself. That when you have somebody who looks at a business and it's not politically correct and it's not the way that it quote should be, as to say that, hey guys, just remember, by the way, bad words don't exist. It's people who believe they're bad that exist. Thanks, George Carlin.
I mean, I just gotta say that a lot of the people recently who've been going so gung-ho about all this shit are the same people who are massive fans of people like Nick Gage. Those people can all fuck off. I had to read at some point someone say, well, what Nick Gage did was a victimless crime and he served his time. It's just like, no, dude, that's fucking bullshit. Just fuck off.
So all right.
Again,
All right.
it's a carny business filled with carnies, ran by carnies, doing carny things. If you can't handle it, go do something else because it'll never change.
The farther we get away from the roots, the better off we're going to be to a certain extent when it comes to that kind of thing.
It doesn't matter though. It's the heart of the business. It's the same. It's the same thing with boxing. At the end of the day, it's all just a carnival. It's how many people can you get through the gates.
There's one more thing I want to get to this before we move on. I'm probably totally out of left field on this, but do you think that even though Vince is aware of this having to happen because of the sponsors, you don't think that he in any way, shape, or form might do some sort of retaliation against the fans in some way, shape, or form who brought this up?
If this was 10 years, if this was 10 years ago, we would get a segment on Raw about how the Ghost of Fabulous Moolah is coming back and is going to fucking, be in a tag team match with HBK.
Isn't his booking retaliation enough?
It is. That's the point. Jeff Hardy was charged with DWI on Saturday night after totaling his Cadillac CTSV in Cameron, blowing a BAC of .25, triple the legal limit. If he had double that, he'd be dead. He was released on bond award if he's been cut from the Ultimate Deletion on Monday.
Oh, God. Why does he do this to himself?
Because, yes.
Because he's an addict. I mean, there's... Right? I mean, do I really have to say anything else? It's really sad because he's one of the most charismatic people like in wrestling. Again, this is how much you want to separate art from artist. He's one of the biggest stars of the past 20 years. He became a massive name when in reality he never should have because of all the times he's fucked up. But he has this unique charisma about him and people like him. And how many times has he fucked up? I mean, Christ.
Too many.
So, but people love him, and if he shows up on Final Deletion, I guarantee you people will cheer.
Hey man,
yeah.
Hey man, he's a bright star that blows up.
He needs supervision literally at all times. It legit frightens me that this dude has kids that he's taking care of. You know what I mean? Not to, but I mean, you keep making that many stupid decisions, that's when you have to question, are you actually capable of keeping another person safe?
I think that he is, but I think that in this instance, he just made another bad decision. Moving on. After announcing Ronda Rousey would be on every Raw leading to WrestleMania, let's have a collective laugh at that one. She missed this week's Raw as she was taking medicals in Pittsburgh. Rey Mysterio has a grade 1 partially torn left biceps, probably missing the New Japan Long Beach show. Shucks. And Vader had heart surgery this week.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. What type? Does anybody know the details on that?
I don't remember.
He's gigantic and probably needs new everything.
I think it was open heart, but I guess it went well since we didn't hear anything negative about it.
So
I know
Ray is
people
over Long Beach, huh?
What do you think he's going to be able to do with a torn left bicep?
Not much.
I mean, he didn't do anything in the Rumble either, but still.
So, like, what matches are even on Long Beach now? It's like, how many days are we from that show? And they've only announced, like 3 matches, and now one of them's not even going to happen?
We're like a week and a half away from it now or something?
Jesus.
Isn't this... We're getting close to the New Japan Cup Finals. When is that? Like, the first rounds have been going on the last few days. And so they have the semifinals and the finals. And then it's Long Beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really going to be the test of... Is New Japan what people want to see, or is Okada, Tana, are those the people that the fans are coming to see?
Who knows? Mainly, I think they're just mainly wanting to see Bullet Club.
Basically, he has
Well-
congestive heart failure, and he had 2 years to live before if he didn't get the surgery.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
My mom
Um,
had congestive heart failure at one point, but she was able to have it fixed before it got too bad. But yeah, Vader just, went for too long.
Vader wants to die in the ring. He says that.
Yeah. Vader's also had his eyeball knocked out of his skull, so
Literally, yes.
you know what I mean? Like, dude that size, that many shots to the head, shit's gonna start failing sooner rather than later.
Stan the Man Hansen and Vader, man. What can you say?
What a fun-filled road to WrestleMania this was this week. So
Right?
much just
going to,
happiness and good news.
Who's
And
gonna
then-
fight Liger then?
I don't know, guys. We're gonna get into the 15-minute time limit here, and
One question before we do this. For that women's battle royal, is it going to be 10, is it going to be 20, or is it going to be 30?
it's gonna be 20.
That's what I was
It's not a
thinking.
battle. It's gonna be a battle royal, not a Royal Rumble. So it'll be everybody in the ring at the same time. So it'll be as many geeks as they can find. So speaking of that terrible, terrible week that we didn't really want to talk about, 15-minute time limit, Fastlane results. Oh boy, guys, Fastlane was actually good.
Well, not the.
Was it?
I didn't see the pre-show,
Not
so I can't speak on
Not
that.
really, no. It wasn't that good.
I was going to say, that's news to me.
There was a couple good matches, but the rest of it was.
Mediocre.
It was, for me, it was in the middle because parts of it were actually pretty good, but I came in expecting nothing, and that kind of soured a lot of my opinion. So,
I guess
Speaking
I
of
usually go in expecting nothing to begin with on all WWE shows, so.
Speaking of expecting nothing, Brazongo and Ty Dillinger defeated Mojo Rawley, Chad Gable, and Shelton Benjamin in the pre-show.
It was a fun little six-man tag, nothing really on the line, and the baby faces win, and overall solid six-man opener, even though it was on the pre-show.
Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Rusev. I have a feeling this is going to be a feud for the rest of the year.
God, I
Not
hope.
the entire year.
Oh, man. I hope it is.
This match was pretty solid. I really enjoyed this match. The crowd was hot for it. Dueling chants. Both of these guys are over as hell. It's a shame how much they're not pushing Rusev right now.
I have a feeling Rusev will win Money in the Bank.
This was my match of the night, easily. These two
Yeah.
guys in the ring have just a brilliant chemistry, and especially with the Rusev Day shit going on right now, like, you've got a crowd that half of them wants to see, half of them wants to see Rusev, and yeah.
You
It's
want to get
hot,
really
hot.
okay. So in the next match here, Randy Orton defeated Bobby Roode to become the next U.S. champion. If you want to point a finger at a match at this point in time, basically from anywhere between 2011 till now, where it would make you extremely angry about SmackDown booking in general. I mean, even from basically back then till today, this match is the quintessential badly booked SmackDown match, period.
Yes. I think I fell asleep some point during this match and was awoken by Big E screaming into my headphones during the New Day entrance.
I wanted this match to be good so bad, and it was just so boring.
It was boring. It was boring because they knew that they were going to get a schmoz finish, and they didn't want to give the fans Randy didn't want to give the fans a better match. Am I wrong in saying that?
This U.S. title match is just. I actually nearly fell asleep during this match. It was so boring. Like when we were watching in West, I didn't wake up until they started playing steamed hams in the background.
Yeah. I mean, does anything else really need to be said? We got so bored that we listened to steamed hams, which anyone at this point has heard 10 million times.
And not just one steamed hams, as many as we could fit into the match. And it was a long match just dragged on.
It's sad.
It was a solid 8 to 10 minute match, you know. The problem is it went way longer than 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Aurora Borealis.
Man, if you would have given these two a match at WrestleMania, said 15 minutes, go out there and have a kick-ass match, I bet they would have put on a hell of a show. But I don't blame them for not giving a shit because the booking sucked.
I hope the U.S. title is not on SmackDown. It is not on WrestleMania, and it's on the pre-show because that's what Randy Orton fucking deserves.
And guess what? And now we're about to get Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton for the U.S. title, most likely. God kill me.
Natalya and Carmella defeat Naomi and Becky Lynch.
This was a nothing match. I also nearly fell asleep during this match. And not a knock on anyone in this match. It's just, what was the point of this match? It was just on there. There's no heat, and they didn't really do anything in this match.
Exactly. I'd like to
SmackDown branded pay-per-view with just a throwaway match on the card.
This is the last SmackDown branded pay-per-view.
Exactly. The old SmackDown branded pay-per-views did the same shit. It was like Gregory Helms and Some Nuts versus Matt Hardy and Jimmy Wang Yang. They always did crap like that. Yep.
All right. I'd like to take this time to actually do some useful speculation here. Carmella cashes in on Alexa Bliss. True or false?
True. Wait, is she able to cash in on the Raw Women's Champion?
They've never said. They never said which women's championship she cash in, and especially with Asuka coming to SmackDown, it makes the most sense. Also, the farther away you can get Carmella from Liv Morgan, just because they're like the exact same person.
I hope. What I hope happens is that she teases a cash in at WrestleMania and then cashes in the night after,
and still loses.
No, I want her to win. I want her to beat Bliss because she deserves a good moment. To be perfectly honest. And the mixed match challenge has taught me that. I let me tell you something. And I've said this. I said this in West. Hold on. There we go. There he is. I said this in West, but I'm going to say it again here. The mixed match challenge is one of the best things that WWE has done. Top 5 things WWE has done in this decade.
I agree.
Like, I mean, I put the Cruiserweight Classic, I'd put NXT up there, I'd put this up there, and maybe a couple WrestleMania moments too. But like, this is the best thing that they could have possibly done to show people wrestling and caring about it. And when you have people wrestling and caring about it, you get some magic. I mean, like, look at Lana and Rusev. They are having the most fun of their entire career doing this crap.
Yeah, like, just the fact that you can tell they're having so much fun makes it that much better.
Watching Charlotte giggle as Bobby tries to woo is genuine, and you can tell, and it's great.
And they have such great chemistry. Like, all of the teams put together have just brilliant chemistry in one way or another.
I'm honestly shocked at how well Miz and Asuka are as a team. They're actually a really good team.
They're a great team. Like, that's my finals is Miz and Asuka versus Braun and Alexa. That's the finals to me.
That's the semi, actually.
I know, but that should have been the finals, man.
It should have been the finals, yeah. I do have whatchamacallit, Braun and Alexa being my favorite team out of this entire pairing. All right. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, I had to bring that up because that's some fucking great shit, and I wanted to figure out what Carmella was doing. And Carmella partnered with Big E, and that was really cool too. Usos versus New Day ended in no contest when the Bludgeon Brothers interfered.
Fuck off.
Canaanites.
Fuck off.
Okay,
What
so
a-
this, right? This time last year, we were begging for Luke Harper to actually break out and be a single star. He was one of the best stars on SmackDown. Now look where he is.
He's back to teaming with Eric Rowan for like the 500th time.
I got no problem with the team of Harper and Rowan. I would have loved it if they came back as the swamp people with the goofy theme and the Rubik's Cubes. This gimmick blows nuts, and I have no interest in seeing this tag match. I want the Usos versus the Bar. I want titles versus champions, not this triple threat crap.
You know, like I love Harper and Rowan, but right now their current gimmick is a mix of Kane, a mix of War Machine, and they do Killer Elite Squad's finisher.
Yep.
And it's not even their finisher. They do that weird, like, crucifix slam thing, whatever.
Oh, that
Oh
always.
boy. Get to add them to the WrestleMania match. So excited. Listen to
Hope
me,
not,
be
nah.
excited.
Champions versus champions. How good would that match be for 15 minutes?
Well, it's a shame that it's going to be Braun Strowman versus the Bar.
I know.
And let me tell you something. You know what the biggest missed opportunity in the whole world is? Fucking releasing James Ellsworth. Because if James Ellsworth and fucking Braun Strowman became tag team champions, it would be all, it would come all full circle. And it would be the best fucking funniest thing on the goddamn show. Tell me I'm wrong.
That would be unbelievable. That would just be unbelievably good. And I kind of feel that this is one of the weirder things. It's not unprecedented for one guy to have both the tag team championship belts, but I don't think they've ever done it in WWE before. I know it's Strowman. I know he's a giant monster, but I'm not sure this is going to work.
I don't know. This is just indicative of the kind of slapdash booking that they do for WrestleMania, because they have their plan. This is what happens when you have a plan that's set, and only they do this, it's seemingly. They have a plan that they've set for over a year, but they're so determined to make that plan that they've had set in stone for over a year happen that everything else has to happen last minute. And it's really amazing. It's like how, if either Roman or Brock can't compete, they got to insert Braun, but now they think they are, so now Braun has nothing to do. The tag champs have nothing to do. The story on both brands is that the tag champs have beaten everybody. They go ahead and bury the entire Raw tag team division with this Battle Royal thing, letting Braun beat everybody. And I mean, again, like you said, if anybody's going to do it, it should be Braun. But, it's just like, it's like everybody else suffers because...
Can I point something out here?
It starts at the top, that's... Like it always
agreed. If you swapped Braun's and Roman's position on the card, Roman doing the exact same thing, getting involved with the tag division, but he's like, I'm going it alone because I can, because I'm that badass. And then Braun trying to beat Brock. Would this not be an infinitely better WrestleMania?
Oh, totally.
I mean, that's only 2 matches, but it would be a marked improvement.
And I mean, you would believe it with Roman too, because obviously they want to push him as the big dog. So what better way to do that than to have him, walk a mile in this pit of danger?
Well, to me, the thing is with Braun is they shot their load too early. They should have had the Symphony of Destruction match at WrestleMania. Or if they were just going to have, they should have waited until they knew what Braun was going to do. If he was going to go into the main event, just do it on Raw. But what the fuck is Elias going to do at WrestleMania? Like, that would have been his moment. He destroys some shit. He beats the hell out of... Elias goes out, has his concert. They could have done so... And it was built so well, too. Like, why blow your load on that on Raw for no reason?
Well, it's the same reason why they're blowing their load on fucking Final Deletion, too.
I'm fine with that being on Raw because I know that they're just both going to end up in the Andre or some shit at Mania. But, like, Braun deserves a spot at WrestleMania, like a showcase where he stands tall. And so does Elias. Elias deserves a spotlight at WrestleMania too. And that's him getting his fucking ass kicked by Braun Strowman. And
great concert. His ass kicked by some sort of celebrity. Kid Rock, cough. Kid Rock, cough.
Elias and Kid Rock doing something. That would be weirdly interesting. But
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Go.
Well, I just wanted to say real quick, personally, yes, I do think the shooting the wad too early thing is amazingly apropos. They should save Final Deletion for WrestleMania, but, you know, what are you going to do?
The Great War is going to be WrestleMania.
Speaking of shooting the wad too early on a match, Charlotte Flair defeats Ruby Riott to retain the SmackDown Women's title.
Hey, that was a good match.
It was a good match, but they should have had it like 3 months from now because no one thought Ruby Riott was going to win, and it just made it boring.
Yeah, it's like I just want to point out how bad they've botched Ruby Riott on the main roster because you had a perfect baby, like an alternative baby face in NXT, and then all of a sudden, like, what about Ruby Riott screams leader of a heel stable, and then you stick her with two people who are nothing like her, and now you have this stable who fucking loses every week, and now you got Ruby Riott already in a women's title match, and she loses, and her stable looks like geeks.
Ruby is basically the replacement for Paige, but Ruby, you know, is I don't know, just
Ruby's nose looked like it got hit by a shovel.
God,
No, come on. I think she's cute hot. You could at least say that about her.
and she's done well in the role. The role they gave her was stupid. She's had
Yeah.
her promos as a heel are great. I actually
Yes,
love
they
her
are.
promos as a heel.
yeah.
I
I
think
enjoyed her
she's
before WWE. So,
yeah,
like,
and
she had talent going in, so she's one of the better ones to come through NXT and up into the roster. But just the way she's being booked right now with the Riot Squad, I just wish they would be doing better and actually being
Yeah.
more dominant.
they could
I
just
agree.
win. They're almost like League of Nations level back a few years ago.
Yes.
Like no one takes them seriously, even though they're four probably legit upper mid carders, and they're just geeks. And it could have been 1,000 times better, as always.
Yep. All right, moving on here. Last match. AJ Styles defeated Kevin Owens, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, and Sami Zayn to retain the WWE title. What an overbooked clusterfuck of a fuckfest finish this was this shit.
And of course, you have to add a McMahon in there too for maximum overdoneness.
You know, I look at this show like this is the last. I'm kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt. This is the last bad show, and by bad I mean purposely bad. Like as far as like, you know, we all knew who was going to win. It doesn't really change anything. You know, some of the matches on the card just sort of happened to fill time. And to that end, you know, obviously AJ was going to win. So for a 6-man where these guys had to go out and kind of put on something of a match and do this thing with Shane, and, you know, where it starts where everybody gets AA'd by Cena, and that whole thing, the idea that Cena lost, so, you know, he's out of WrestleMania again, even though, you know, they went right back on it. I thought it was fine. You know, it was fairly entertaining considering you knew who was going to win and you knew who was going to get beat up most of the match and all that good stuff. So.
My thoughts on it are is I wasn't bored, but I certainly wasn't invested. It was interesting enough to get me to keep watching. There was enough shit going on, but I was just like, I just didn't give a shit at the end of the day.
I agree. I could have been totally more invested in that if there had been a question of what's going on. Can we also speculate on the Cena Undertaker match here for a second?
Well, that's all we can do.
He's not going to be facing Ray now.
Can I just say that I really want him to come out with a bike and Kid Rock singing the theme?
Oh, hell yes. The American Badass, you know, that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go on a rant here. That little gimmick right there of Taker's gets tremendously shit on today, and I am outraged that people are taking that much of a dump on it when the American Badass at the time was incredibly badass. You know, he had to switch back sooner or later. We all know that, but still.
That gimmick wasn't that great.
Dude, I loved Biker Taker.
Biker Taker was
Biker Taker, especially 2002 Biker Taker.
Big evil Biker Taker.
Big evil, yeah.
Was one of the best heel runs in WWE in forever.
Yeah, I liked Big Evil Taker, but I didn't like American Badass Taker.
Early, it took a little while for him to really understand what the gimmick should be. Like, I think everything past Survivor Series 2000 with the hideous snake pants. You know, I think he really figured out what that was supposed to be after he fucked up that bad.
Well, and now seeing him roll out as that for the last ride with Cena, especially with Cena, considering that Cena's career encompasses exactly that particular time period. I mean, Cena started in 2002, so it would be perfect for Cena to go out to that, you know, and to face Biker Taker, if you would, because I would rather see that than I would see Spooky Taker.
Thugonomics Cena versus Biker Taker.
Oh, good God.
2002, 2003 SmackDown era.
Oh, God. And that handshake means so much more.
Well, here's another situation, man, where it's like, I'm not interested, but I'm not invested. Like, I'm not bored by it, but I don't care if those two have a match. I don't want to see them have a match now.
I wanted to see this match like 5 or 10 years ago, not now.
I am open to being sold on this match. I am not currently invested in it. I would like to see. Go ahead.
I think if Cena, he doesn't turn heel, but he acts heelish in the sense that he goes out and he dogs the Undertaker, kind of like what we were saying. Let's say he comes out on the bike and he's making fun of that. Let's say he's making fun of the spooky stuff. You know, maybe he comes out dressed as Taker, whatever. And it's like, Cena's like, do you really want the last thing people remember you by is me dogging you and you not facing me, basically? And it's really kind of a, you know, it's a scummy thing for Cena to do, because it's basically like a guy who like challenges a guy to a fight knowing he's not going to show up. I mean, I think that's how you go for it.
I'll hope for the best, but they're just, Taker is so broken down now. He just can't. He just can't. And I don't think Cena can drag that kind of match out of him.
I don't know. Cena as a wrestler, I mean, especially in the past 5 years, he has strived to improve his wrestling ability.
I'm not talking any shit about Cena as far as that. He's definitely improved, and he's one of the best on the roster.
He can carry matches all the. He can carry Taker. He can carry Taker for one match.
Taker needs someone that he can toss around a bit, and I don't know if he can do that with Cena now. 3 years ago. But 3 years ago, he should have faced fucking Sting, and we all know how that went.
Exactly. All right. 15-minute time limit was over a little bit ago. You guys heard the buzzer, right? Zzz. So let's get into the ratings. Dairy King drive-thru. Vassar, give me the ratings.
And now for the ratings. Starting off with Impact, 325,000 viewers, down from 365,000 the week previous. Onto Raw, 3.352 million, up from 3.099 million the week previous. And finally, onto SmackDown, 2.771 million, up from the 2.590 million the week previous. And that is it for the ratings.
Dog with the birthdays.
Okay, happy birthdays today to John Olin, to Yoshihiro Momota, to Masami Soranka, to Miyuki Yanagi, to Ed Prudhomme, to Lou Darrow, also happy birthdays today. And then tomorrow, happy birthday to Don Owen and to Royal Kaichuk. Then on the 17th, happy birthdays to Test, to Devil Budokan, to La Fiara, to Edward Cholak, to Rocket Monroe, to Chris Belkas, to Joe Malkovitz, and also to Lady Satan. Then on the 18th, happy birthdays to Mike Bell and Ben Sharp. Then on the 19th, Cousin Jr., Rick McGraw, Gino Garibaldi, Doug Scoggins, Joe Gordon, Rito Romero, Loza, all having birthdays on the 19th. On the 20th, Harlem Warlord, Ralph Silverstein, Frank Townsend, Joe Corbett, Orig Williams, and Panchito Villalobos, Panchito Villalobos. There we go. And then on the 21st, happy birthday to the one and only Chris motherfucking Candido, no gimmicks needed. Also to Salvador Luderoff, to Maurice Catricio, to Rima Go, to Michiharu Sadano, to El Rebelde, to Attila, to Johnny Allen, to El Hijo de Cien Caras, to Mike York, to Frank Dalton, to Carl Cooper, and to Chief War Eagle. And those are the birthdays.
And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, this weekend wrestling history, circa 1972, where Aiko Kyo wins her second WWA World Singles title from Jean Etonin in Nagoya, Japan. At the same show, Master Lee and Sharon Lee won the WWA World Tag Team title from Miyoko Hoshino and Jumbo Miyamoto. Jump to 1991, where Tom Pritchard defeats Jeff Jarrett for the USWA Southern Heavyweight title in Dallas, Texas, ending Jarrett's second reign. And in 1999, Moody's Mob of Bull Schmidt and the new Dr. X defeat the Blackbird Posse of Larry Green and Chris Young for the NWA Texas Tag Team title in North Richland Hills, Texas. And that was this weekend of wrestling history.
Happy trails to Taiji Ishimori, who announced his departure from Noah, citing Japanese stars in WWE as his inspiration to strive higher. And happy trails once again to Sonny, who is still incarcerated in New Jersey and will be moved to Philadelphia to face further legal issues. Mwah, mwah. We don't have Yankum here to make fun of Sonny. But what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Do we need anyone to make fun of Sonny anymore? I'm pretty sure she can handle that.
Oh, yes, that's her main.
Yankum
That's her
just
main.
enjoys making fun of her at this point.
I enjoy figuring out Yankum's commentary when it comes to Sonny, because I mean, it turns into a real gas.
Yeah, that's some low hanging fruit. I mean, real low hanging fruit.
Speaking of low hanging fruit,
we all watched the video, you know.
We all did in West together. Not that creepy or anything. Samus Dog, what should we watch this week of wrestling?
You got to watch main event night 3 of the first round of the New Japan Cup. Sonata versus Chuck the Kentucky Gentleman Taylor, main eventing a New Japan show, and they put on a fucking great match. It was a fun ass match. But think about that for a second. Chuck Taylor main eventing a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. I hope Cornette has a heart attack.
He just might.
My brain can't process that. Chester, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch any of the New Japan Cup yet, but I want to. So I'm just going to go with something from SmackDown, if for no other reason than we were talking about it in the pre-show, and there were a couple of insane bumps taken by two of my favorite superstars, Shane McMahon and Xavier Woods, and look at the after SmackDown brawl between Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Shane McMahon, where Shane takes an absolute hell of a bump on his back on what looks like a stack of chair racks that doesn't have any chairs on them. And the sounds he made me honestly believe there for a second that he had a rib spearing into his lung or something there for a second. It was scary, but just look at that and see how insane these two guys are for taking those two bumps.
All right, and Shao Kahn, which we watched this week in wrestling.
Not really gonna go with anything this week, but I'm gonna go way, way, way back to May 17th, 1995 at UWFI number 43, a shoot-style clinic between Gary Albright and Masahiro Kakihara. It's definitely worth the watch.
Oh my God, Gary Albright, none other than Vulcan Singh himself. Oh God, I miss that mother.
Vaster.
Also from, what was it, night 3 of the New Japan Cup, Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Toru Yano, because I just laughed my ass off because I knew the outcome before it even happened.
Well, it's Yano. You know it's going to be funny at least.
Yano won, right? Because it's Yano, and he's.
But
you
somebody's getting kicked in the dick.
Oh, that could be our which we watch this week in wrestling.
Oh boy.
Yep. That time.
I think you should watch I don't know. I was kind of watch Jay Lethal and
Dalton Castle.
yeah, Dalton Castle from the anniversary show.
Dalton Castle and who? I didn't catch that.
Jay Lethal.
Ah.
Right, there was the Ring of Honor
title
title.
match.
You know, Jay Lethal is actually training Rey Mysterio's son Dominic to wrestle.
Which makes me laugh uncontrollably.
Well, I mean, Lethal. He's he won't be in the WWE Hall of Fame, but he just deserves to be in some kind of Hall of Fame. He's had quite the career.
I'm sure that he'll end up in WWE at some point or another, probably in the same style that AJ did. Considering you got to remember, guys, that. Well, I mean, you got to remember, Jay is very young still. I mean, he's barely cracked 30, I think.
I could see him as a trainer. I don't know if they will want him as a competitor. But, well, let me look out.
We'll see. We'll see how high he can get his stock again, because obviously that run a couple years ago was, the creme de la creme of his career.
Okay, so he's 30. He's 32, going on 33.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's not old, but it's not young either. So
exactly. And he's been doing this for a super long time. So he's been doing it since he was like 18 or something. And I've known about him since he's been about 20.
Special K.
That was right, Special K, baby. Oh God, that fucking gimmick. Jesus Christ. All right, you should watch this week of wrestling.
I actually like that a lot. I thought that was clever.
I agree. What you should watch this week in wrestling. What else but the Mixed Match Challenge? I'm actually going to.
I almost said that and spoiled it for you. But.
I know. I'm glad that you didn't, because I know anything else right now, because everybody else said everything from the New Japan Cup. No, I'm suggesting this. I'm suggesting this in particular because this week's the week that you get to vote for the people to come back for the last round of the semifinals. So if you had a cool team that got eliminated, like Carmella and Big E, that you want to see go again, or whatchamacallit, Bailey and Drifter over there. If you want to see those guys come back, go vote for them on the Facebooks. I forgot exactly how you do it, but it's there if you go search Mixed Match Challenge.
Fuck that shit. Bring Lana and Rusev back.
Well, of course, Lana is the best. Lana number one.
Clap, clap.
And that's a hell of a gimmick. But at the same time, go vote for your favorite. Go watch this week because it was a good match. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, everybody. So for us here at Smark Snark, I'd like to thank y'all for listening. We apologize for the super late start tonight and the silence at the beginning of the show. But we got everything worked out. We actually had a good show tonight. Really appreciate y'all coming. Thank y'all for listening. We were good. Let's see here. This has been episode 294 of the Smark Snark. Thank you, podcaststeves.com, twitter.com/SmarkSnark, facebook.com/SmarkSnark. You can go find us online and go follow us, do all that cool stuff. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I don't have a close. Take me away.
And
Go ahead.
now, if you interrupt me one more time, you're going to get more of a bopping than the viewers who do not help us get an ending. So, yeah. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to bop that gesture anyway. Omega, you know what to do.
Good night, Flushing.